Welcome to my sewing room. Today I'm going to show you how exactly to get a perfect fit. Pattern fitting is the easiest thing you will ever do, and you will never need to sew another muslin in your life again. We will need Scotch Magic tape. This is very important. You do not want the cellophane kind of tape because you have to iron your pattern after you have put the tape on it to just make it stable and so that your tissue won't tear when you fit your pattern. Now when you go to Office Depot or Office Max, you will look for it. It's a little Scotch Magic tape. The other thing that you want is 0.5 millimeter glass head pins. You do not want these big quilter pins because they will hurt you. They're very painful. They make big holes in your pattern, which we don't need because it will just ruin it. The other thing you will need is perfect pattern paper from Palmer Pledge. This is the best thing that you can get when you're trying to do tissue fitting. The reason for that, it has all the markings, your 1/8 inch, your 1/2 inch, your 1 inch. So whatever you need to add to your pattern, you only go by the grid that you already have. Also, you need a 6 inch, just a nice quilter's ruler, and then the Bible on tissue fitting. This is Fit for Real People by Patty Palmer, and I also use Patty Palmer's patterns. The reason that I want you to use Patty Palmer's patterns in the beginning is it has all the markings already marked on the pattern. So no matter if you have to do a front bust adjustment, the markings is on the pattern. You only cut on line 1, line 2. It's very easy. So, and then after you use Patty Palmer, then go on and use patterns that do not have the markings, because you will know how to put the markings in yourself. When you have to bring markings onto your pattern, I want you to put a plain sheet of paper underneath and use your small ruler. I will use the big one because I misplaced my small one. And all you want to do is mark your stitching line so that you can see where you want to put the pins, and also where do you want to put the tape. The tape, I normally only tear about the size of my 2 fingers. You will put it on the pattern like that, and then when you come with the second piece, you want to make sure that you actually overlap the previous piece that you've put on, because they don't stick very well and you don't want it, for your pattern to tear. So just make sure that you really take these and put them about 1/4 way in from the previous one that you've put on. Now, the only time that we do use tape is at places where you're going to have some stress, maybe under the armhole, down the neck area, where you need to cut the pattern. So we're not really going to use it on the skirt that we're going to make today. You also need a cutting board. I have made my cutting board out of plywood. I measured the length of a pants because that is the biggest and longest garment that I will ever make. If you will make a jacket, you will just, or a long jacket, you will add your pants with a top and then make a big one. But I only need one that is about the length of my pants. Now what I did was I measured my legs, and the length of my pants is about 40 inches. I went ahead and I cut a 60 by 36 inch plywood. That way I can actually have space left where I can press, because my plywood is covered with a very thick and nice batting and then covered with muslin. This way I can actually pin my fabric and my pattern to my cutting table. The other nice thing is when you get your grid board that you're going to use, you can actually pin with your pins into the grid board. The reason you want to do this, when you have your grain line, you want to align the grain line with one of the lines on your grid board. After you've done that, you will take your pin, stick it right into the grid board, and then you can go ahead, cut your pattern where you need to make the alteration, spread it. If you need to spread it 1 inch, a half an inch, or whatever, you will have the grid of the board as well as the marking on the perfect pattern paper from Patty Palmer. If you do not have the perfect pattern paper, it's no problem. Just go to the gift wrapping area in your department store and buy some tissue paper, you know, that you put in the gifts. That will work as well. But if you do have time, visit my website so that you can get some perfect pattern paper, and you'll be glad that you did. The pattern that I attempt to use is one from Palmer Pledge. It's M5335, and I will see you guys when I come back. In the meantime, get your setup and sew along so that we all can have a skirt that we can be proud of.